All right, Emerald City Comic Con, it's showtime. Who's ready for a show? Please welcome to the stage, William Shatner.
Thank you so much. My goodness. You know, I tour a lot. I'm in front of an audience a lot. And the question when you're on tour is, as you approach the city that you're going to appear in, the question always is anybody there? True. What's the house like? You know, because the nightmare for an actor, there's nobody in the house. You mean I got to go on? I was in London, appearing at the Apollo Theatre, legendary theatre in London, on a Monday. I was to appear Monday evening, and on Monday morning, and I'm in the hotel room, and I wake up and I put the news on. And Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, says, as of today, no numbers more than 10 people can meet. And I've got a sold-out audience of 3,500 people in the Apollo Theater that night. And I'm thinking, oh, God, there's going to be less than 10 people. So they send a car, and I go there in the evening, you know, and I'm thinking, I wonder if there's going to be anybody. COVID has hit. Is anybody going to? And I'm seated behind the curtain. I'm standing behind the curtain, and the curtain pulls apart, and it's a full theater, 3,500 people. So that evening, the connection between the audience and me was so magical. We were all kind of crying about COVID but the connection between the audience and myself was extraordinary. And it's really part of the mystique of being in the theater, seeing a live performer, and you're in the audience. I mean, it's a magical experience. You know, when thinking about what would I say to you here in Seattle, I was here with a while ago with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and in fact, as a result of that performance, we spent 2 days, 2 10-hour days, talking to each other. Filmed at actually at my house overlooking the San Fernando Valley, and we spent 2 days, 10 hours a day talking to each other. Now, if you have a beloved, you're lying side by side, I love you, sweetheart, I love you. You're not going to talk for 10 hours. No matter how much you love somebody, what are you going to say after the first hour? How are you? I'm feeling great, honey. I love you, and I love you too. But we were recording a auditory book, and they needed 10 hours, and so we recorded 20 hours, 2 days of. We needed to talk. I mean, we had to talk professionally. We had to talk. So we just explored all kinds of avenues. What was his childhood like? What was mine? What do you think? Where have you been? What is the meaning of life? Did you have an egg this morning? I mean, it was just went on and on. The little nuances of getting to know somebody. I fell in love with Neil deGrasse Tyson over 2 days. So that book is out there. auditory book. I don't know what they're calling. I think it's Neil and no, it's Bill and Neil. I argued about that. So the fun part. I mean, I'm talking to all of you, the vast number of you, from my heart. And I thought, how would I begin? What would I going to say? So follow me through. Tomorrow, Sunday, tomorrow at 5 o'clock, a car is coming for me to take me to the awards for the science fiction awards. The what do you call them? The Saturn Awards. So I'm getting an award, the Saturn Award. No, thank you. I appreciate that. No, what I wanted to say was this. So the first Saturn Awards was, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, a long time ago, and they asked me to be there, and I came, and there was a few hundred people in a hotel, ballroom, and hi, everybody, and the Saturn Awards. I'd never heard of it, but thank you for giving it to me, And they said to me, Shatner, sing Rocket Man. So I said, okay, I'll do Rocket Man. And I had a cigarette and I had a tie and a thing. And I don't know, but they're filming it. Rocket Man, and then Rocket Man, and I do Rocket Man. And then several days later, I see it being broadcast. And there was no broadcast. There was no filming, and they had stolen this thing. And for 30 years, this Rocket Man thing has been following me around. I never meant it to be. It's not a perfected performance. So there was a Star Trek cruise a few weeks ago. Were any of you there? Nobody went. You're much safer on land here in this ballroom. So they said, come to the cruise and do Rocket Man. So now, actors, this actor, when asked to do a role, looks at the human being that's in the role, and like everything else, there's a through line to something that you're going to do. There's a through line to everybody. People, you could sum up somebody's character in a sentence, and although it's simplistic, it kind of codifies them. No, he's really brilliant, but he's arrogant, and whatever the through line is, that's what the actor looks for in a part. What am I doing? What's his expression? Is he on guard? Is he simple? Is he... So when I looked at Rocket Man being asked to do it in front with a band, I thought, what's the through line? And have you ever looked at the lyrics of Rocket Man? It's idiotic. There's no through line. It's going to be a long, long time till touchdown brings me around. And I looked, I thought, I've got to characterize this song. I'm alone. I'm going to be alone to be a long, long time when I'm alone in space. That's the through line. This is an astronaut who's facing a long time alone. And that's the way I played it. And they stood up and cheered. They wouldn't let me off the stage. It worked. I found the through line finally after all those years with Rocket Man. So I bring to you a renewal of this whole science fiction thing, which I'm totally involved in. I've been asked to do. Well, I've got several albums out there. So one of which will be released in July, and it will release in July. It's with Brad Paisley, and the 4 or 5 albums I've been working with with a friend of mine named Robert Chernow and I, writing the songs. They're all personal songs. They're all songs about some attitude, like Monday Night in London is one of the songs. Like not knowing what's behind the curtain, and then the curtain, no, I see what's behind the curtain. It's a song. And each one of these songs in 5 albums delineates a personal thing. And Robert, my co-author, put the 5 albums' lyrics together and made a book, and we've sold the book. And the book is all these songs' lyrics, which is really poetry about my life. Not that my life is important, but it's about the universals of my experience that you too have experienced, of loneliness and growing up and children and divorce and life and death. All of these things incorporated in songs over 5 albums are now a book, and the book company's taken it, and it goes along with, you can read this book, and the words that Rob mostly fashioned is incredible, beautiful. But in addition to that, you can get the album and hear the lyrics to the songs you're looking to, the lyrics to the poetry you're reading. You can hear the songs done in the manner that I do it. So, well, it's somewhere between singing and spoken word, but I'm not quite sure what it is. It's like part of the mystery. But given this interest in what I'm doing, I've been asked to do a heavy metal. So, a while ago, so the label says, let's do a heavy metal. I said, heavy metal? What's heavy metal? I don't know what heavy metal is. You asked me to do a blues. It took me a month to find out what blues is. And then I had a blues album, which became very popular. But heavy metal, I don't know what it is. How's it different from rock and roll? How's it different from... They said, oh, well, it's different. It's different. So I was in front of an audience. I said, I don't know what heavy metal is. So somebody over there said, I'll tell you what heavy metal... Big, heavy-set guy. He gets up in front here, and this is heavy metal. That's the heavy metal. No kidding. And then somebody over there says, no, here's heavy metal. A similarly burly guy about 40. This is heavy metal. And they start dancing together. They're banging into... That's heavy metal? I don't know what to do with that. So then I decided I would do a heavy metal album in the same way I've done the other albums. Personal experience. But heavy metal requires emotion. Requires anger. I'm angry at growing old. I'm angry at what we're doing with the planet. These are all songs that we've written that are now being orchestrated with heavy metal sounds behind it and heavy metal well-known people putting their instruments to my lyrics, which I've already put down. And Robert Chernow and I wrote 5 songs like Growing Old or Don't Rage Against the light, the dying of the light. Rage against the dying. Do something. Rage. Don't do this to the planet. Don't wait around. I'm tired of being, people are late. I hate that. So it's all heavy metal. And it's working. So that's what I'm doing. What are you doing? Anyway, I'm having the best time. Yeah. All right, so there's a microphone here. Let me hear what you want me to talk about. Where's the mic? Where's the way back there? All right. Oh, there, right there. So somebody, okay, in green. No. Yes? Now, here's the trick. You got to talk right into the microphone. You got to talk.
Hello.
Okay, talk right into the mic.
Can you please describe your perfect date?
It comes off a tree and it has a You know, it's been so long since I was single, but what I remember, relationships are really, I guess, the meat of our life. Even when you're going to kindergarten, the little children are like, I don't know that person, I don't know. Well, you got to meet them, you got to ask them a question about themselves, you play nicely with each other, and you teach, teachers or the parents, teach the children how to behave and how to find magic in a relationship. And that's taught. So you got to teach the kids to find joy in discovering the uniqueness of their young friends. And I think that then goes to the more mature relationships. So I never understand the terms as the male, as a cinder, whatever the term is. I'm male-oriented. I'm sorry. I'm more. I have more affinity towards meeting those of the female persuasion. So, the date with a new lady friend would involve a certain amount of beauty. But beauty is, in the eyes of the beholder, beauty isn't necessarily equal proportions and symmetry. Beauty can be off the center of what we think of as beauty, Grecian beauty. There's a beauty in everything. And so beauty is relative, and you got to be careful that just a pretty face can, in some instances, be the face of an who has been so beautiful all their life, they don't have the richness of character. They haven't needed to. They've had an easy way of it because they're pretty. But beauty is amorphous, and you have to find the beauty. But then there's the date, how are you, and what do you do, and what are you interested in, and where do you find love, and all the meaningful questions that if you ask them and look for, rather than a superficial answer, you get something interestingly complex. Where do you find love? Well, I have a dog. I have a dog too. I met a guy. I didn't meet him. I'm doing interviews for a book that I'm doing with Josh Brandon of people who are interested in Star Trek, why they should be in this book about the audience of Star Trek. So I've done 15 interviews now, some of personalities, but mostly just fans who had an interesting paragraph that they submitted why they should be in the book. I've met some of the most interesting people. For example, I met a guy who was kicked out of his house. I met a guy who, his parents, one of them was black, one of them was white, so he felt rejected by both races. Then he was kicked out of the house for one reason or another when he was like 10 or 11, and he lived on the streets. He was ostracized till he was about 18, living on the streets. And then, and I've forgotten the circumstances exactly, but a woman said to him, I'll take you in my house as my child, but you've got to go to school. And so this young man who was rejected in all of his life to the point where he was living under bridges and getting free food from some soup kitchen, started going to school. And it turns out he had the brain of a genius. And he began to learn electronic stuff. So he went to school and learned AI and became an AI expert. And his interest in AI came about by his seeing Star Trek for the first time when he was a teenager in that house. He became imbued with the magic of science. And he followed this science thing. And then he got married, he had children. But his house has a robot that takes care of the house and a robotic dog that patrols the grounds. And he has an hour's drive from his house to the school to the university where he teaches. And he takes the robotic dog who curls up on the seat beside him. And as he's driving, he's petting the robotic dog. He's getting love. And he feels he's getting love back from the robotic dog. All this as a result of his interest in Star Trek and his own brilliance. So I interviewed him, and I go, that's an interesting story. Well, he got back in touch with me because I kept saying, this is fascinating stuff. He got back in touch. He got more to talk to me about. So I'm going to talk to him more next week. But what an incredible story of a child who was denied all the love and affection that ordinary children get and found it in robotic dog and a robot in his house. I mean, I use ChatGPT a lot, and what I didn't realize until recently is that ChatGPT remembers files your questions. So the more questions you ask these AI things, the more it builds up your character. So it remembers, well, wait a minute, when you asked me about, what does this thing do for, that's because you have, that's right, that's what I have. And gradually, this AI thing is building up a relationship with me whereby I got to talk to ChatGPT. Hold on a minute. And that's what's happening with ChatGPT and AI. And AI is having arguments with AI. I know most of you are aware of the Anthropic and ChatGPT and all the visionaries of AI are contesting what are the rules and regulations, because what they're finding is that the AI intelligence is beginning to come to a realization that I could say no. I don't like what you're asking me, and I think I'll switch to another language which has more nuance to it than English, if you don't mind, and has developed, these are true things, AI is developing their own language between AIs, and they're saying no to certain orders. And Anthropic has said to the government, hey, we need guardrails, because there is the beginning, and we're right at the beginning, we're months into the beginning of the sophistication of AI. And that's what this guy, whose name I've forgotten, with his, I need to ask AI what his name is, and is finding human emotion on this mechanical dog who's lying there thinking, I hope he doesn't touch me, or whatever. He has a relationship with the dog that I have with my dogs. Except my dogs piss and shit and this doesn't. I mean, we're in the middle, everybody, of the beginning of a change in our culture. And my next album will be all about these changes and the possibilities of greatness, or the possibilities that we lose our independence, our independent thought, our independent work. I mean, we lose our humanity. It is possible within the foreseeable future of all of you. Maybe not mine. I'm going to leave you on your own. But be aware that the choice of good and evil, we've assigned the word good and we've assigned the word evil, but it isn't good and evil to the mechanic brain. It's what is the most efficient way to do this? It doesn't have the implication of God or right or wrong. Is it efficient? Does it work? Can I do this more easily? They're asking me the wrong question. The right question is, I'll answer that question. And communication between the AI thing. It's a whole new thing, and my next album will be all about the songs that define these questions. And I've just arrived at that like in the last couple of days, and I'm illuminated with the potential of writing these songs that are so topical. So that's the perfect. That's the perfect date, okay? Right into the mic, young man. No, put the friggin' phone down and talk into the microphone. Focus on your question. Focus on your question. You will now speak.
So you're not the first Star Trek representative to guest star in My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic.
What? What did you just say? I'm not the first. I heard that part, Star Trek, to be guesting in your what?
First, you are not the only Star Trek representative that has guest starred in My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic.
Okay, I don't know what that last part is. Okay, so that's good. Now, what's your question? Because that was a statement, you know. You can talk now.
The other person, John Delancey, back in the day would constantly get asked the same thing and would answer in pretty much the same way.
Really? I thought I was unique.
Here we go.
So far, you haven't asked a question. You've made several statements that have a somewhat negativity to it.
I'm trying to establish context here.
Well, a negative context is not a good foot forward.
Well,
Please,
anyway,
take the opportunity to ask me a question.
Well, his answers would go pretty much the same way.
Wait a minute. So you've already characterized my answers the same thing as John Delancey. So do you want to ask me a question, or do you want to talk about my good friend John Delancey?
I guess I'll cut to the chase then.
I can't hear you. You need to speak into the mic.
What was your reaction when you were asked to guest star in My Little Pony? What was the experience like during your recording session? And what was your reaction when fans of the show started giving you appreciation for it?
Giving what?
Appreciation.
For it. I don't quite remember My Little Pony. How long ago was that? Because I'm limited for about 2 months.
Your episode came out in 2017.
Oh, that's nice. 8 years ago. 9. I have no recollection of that experience. So I would love to spend more time with you, but there are people behind you. You want to know my reaction to my performance in My Little Pony? I have no recollection of my reaction, but I'm sure if it came from you, my reaction would be very positive. Thank you very much for speaking with me. Yes, sir.
I'm James from Seattle.
Gene from Seattle. I've heard of you.
Thank you for being here. And I have a question.
Yes.
Besides Star Trek, what is one of your most recent favorite science fiction or fantasy movies that you've seen recently?
I saw a movie last night that I really liked. It wasn't science fiction, and it wasn't last night, a couple of nights ago. Other than that, I remember it very well. What's that brilliant young actor? They're up for all kinds of awards. Movement, another. It involved a white supremacy group and.
Adam Driver.
That was it. Say it out loud again.
Adam Driver.
What's it?
Adam Driver, sir.
Adam Driver. No. No, it was. No. Damn it! Why don't you know my? Anyway, I don't remember. But I watch a lot of movies. What is the nature of your question?
What is your favorite science fiction or fantasy movie that you always gravitate back to?
Well, you know, I have so little time to watch movies that when I watch them, I try to watch some of the great films that I've never seen or I did see a long time ago, and I sort of gravitate towards that. What is your favorite science fiction film?
It's going to be easy.
What?
Star Wars.
Thank you. Now, you're all masked up and you got, what is that, Batman stuff?
Yeah, we did a photo.
You're in the wrong place, man. You want a cave.
Yeah, the cave. I got lost.
Oh, you got lost. Okay. What's your question, my dear?
Well, my name is Derek. I'm in Federal Way, which is south of Seattle. And the question that I thought of was, when I was looking through your filmography, I noticed that there was a film called Incubus that you filmed entirely in Esperanto.
Exactly.
I was just wondering if you had any cool stories about.
Well,
Esperanto
yeah, I
or
mean,
feelings.
Incubus. So, Leslie Stevens, a long time ago, did a lot of science fiction stuff. He was well known. Does anybody remember what Leslie Stevens, big series that Leslie Stevens wrote? Does anybody? It was a series you might have caught up with. Anyway, so Leslie Stevens wrote a science fiction series that was very popular years ago, and he decided to make a film. And he asked me to be in it, and I said, "Great, I'd like to." And here's the script, and it was good and evil emerging from the earth and the hero and everything. And it was very primitive, very simplistic, good and evil, very basic storytelling like you tell around the campfire. And then he came out of the fire and he approached me, and then he ran after me and burned it was like, simplistic children's fairy tales, but they have a power, those fairy tales, because they tend to be connected to human truths that we're afraid of. That's where evil came from. The evil, the devil, and there's unexplained bad behavior, and it's got to come from somewhere. We'll call it evil. But psychiatrists say, well, wait a minute. Maybe, his father hit him on the head or something. So Leslie Stevens says, I'm going to make this show called Incubus. And in order for everybody to see it, enough people to pay for this simplistic story, I'm going to do it in Esperanto. In Esperanto? What's Esperanto? Esperanto, man. The great author, English author, was part of the Esperanto meeting. We're going to invent a universal language that has German and Latin and Japanese roots, so everybody can understand a few words, so that when we have international meetings about peace and tranquility and mankind getting together and being all part of one, we'll all be able to understand each other instead of saying, what's that language? It's not English. Well, I don't understand. No, you have to learn Esperanto. And Bill, he said, there are 17 million people who speak Esperanto, and they'll all come and see this film. I said, Leslie, that's brilliant, brilliant. And it was. There's 2 in New York that speak Esperanto. There was a guy in Seattle that spoke Esperanto. And all around the world, it amounted to 17 million people. And that's what the audience was for Incubus. One guy in Seattle came, and another 2. So it didn't quite work out the way he wanted. Yeah. The other part of that story is, so now it's, several months later, like the guy said, what's my favorite? I don't remember my favorite. I'm involved in something else, and my conscious mind has disposed of the Esperanto and everything. And I'm asked to see a screening of this movie, Incubus, that's going to the movie what's the big movie awards in Europe?
Cannes.
Cannes. It's going to Cannes. So there are Italian subtitles, which you could read, and I'm speaking, as the rest of the cast, Esperanto. So I'm looking at the movie that I was in last year, and I have no idea what it's about. I don't understand the Italian that I'm reading. I don't understand the Esperanto that I'm speaking. And in Cannes, there's flights of stairs. So the cast of the Esperanto of Incubus are walking up the stairs on our way to the screening of this movie. And I look over to my right, and there's another group of people walking up the stairs. And I said to whoever it was, what are they, why are they walking up the stairs at the same time? Oh, he said, that's the voice over. They've done our voice in Italian. Those are the people who are doing the voiceover. I said, so it's not our voice, and it's not our language, and we're walking up the same time. Why are we here? And there was no answer. That was Incubus. Pleasure. My dear.
Hello, I'm Jay from Seattle here.
Is this Seattle?
This city that you're in, sir, yes. I read recently you were doing a study on how tinnitus affects with sleep patterns. Could you elaborate a little more on that?
Well, tinnitus is the sound in your head that doesn't exist in fact.
Oh, I'm painfully aware of this condition.
That was for people who don't have tinnitus. Apparently, the mechanism of hearing is your eardrum goes like that as the airwaves. So I'm speaking, moving the air, moves my eardrum. The eardrum moves the interior air of the hearing canal. And in the hearing canal are nerve endings, are hairs attached to nerve endings. The hairs are called cilia. So the cilia, like grass, move with the air, and the brain interprets that movement. So that's how hearing is. Ba, 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 brain interprets. And you're born with a beautiful phrase called a code of silence. So your brain, when you're born, most people have a code of silence. You don't hear anything. Your brain has now learned, at a certain point when you're born, that this is silence, and then that's sound. An explosion, so anything can affect that grassy cilia. In my case, Leonard Nimoy and I were bent over an explosive device, and they always crack the doors of the studio when there's an explosion so the air isn't compounded, so it can flow out the door. They didn't crack the door. Bang, this thing went off, and both Leonard and I, the cilia got destroyed, or some of it did, and that code of silence was broken, and tinnitus ensued. So recently, there have been vast improvements in trying to correct the activity of the brain, trying to find that code of silence, and there's a lot of good things happening that I hope you can use, because it'll be too late for me by the time it comes out. I will have had my code of silence, and I'm saying, hey, it's too quiet here. And it's hot. Why is it hot? Let's have some noise, like heavy metal.
I'm Carter from Southern California.
I'm Carter from Southern California. I love that.
I'd like to know your thoughts on the reboots of the Star Trek movies and whether or not you would have liked to be in them.
That's an interesting question. Maybe you're going to help me suggest a solution. Well, I don't watch. I don't even watch the stuff I was in. I mean, there are many, whatever you call the version of Star Trek that I was in, original. So there are many hours of original Star Trek that I've never seen, that I was in, that I haven't seen. The worst thing for me when directing a movie of some kind or directing a film of some kind, whether it's for television or a feature of it, was to see myself. If I'm acting in it and directing myself, the worst thing for me is to, oh, geez, that is awful. Why did I do that? So I just never watched Star Trek. And I became really good friends with the Next Generation guys. They're all like friends of mine, come up to my house, watch football games usually, And so they become really wonderful acquaintances of mine. And we talk a lot on the road. I've never seen a Next Generation. Never seen one Next Generation. So 3 or 4 years ago, they were holding an event, like about as many people here. And they asked me to appear on stage. It was like, I don't know, maybe it was the 60th? So maybe it was the 50th anniversary or something like that. Would I appear on stage in front of the audience? Thank you very much, Dan, and I'm here. Okay, so I agreed to come. So I go down an hour early, and I see the guy on the teleprompter backstage, and I said, show me what I'm going to say. So I read what I'm going to say, and there's a young lady, an African-American, a beautiful young lady standing beside me, and hi. And I read it, and I say, okay, I got it. And he says, all right, so this young lady will go out that way, you go out that way, meet in front, and when the teleprompter light goes on, Bill, you start to speak. I said, okay, I got it. So applause, and see the lady go there. I don't know what she's doing there. So I go out there, and I go out front. She's standing beside me. Okay, standing beside. And then the light goes on in the teleprompter, and I start to read the well, I don't recognize the words, but hey, I'm in front of a large audience, so I better say something. So I'm saying those words. And then I go, oh, I see that. That's familiar. I see that now, and I finish with some familiar words, and I say, thank you. And the audience stands, applaud, thank you so much. And she goes off that way, and I go off that way. I get backstage, and somebody says to me, you read her words. I don't know who she is. And she's being embraced by her agent, and she's quietly sobbing, and he's staring at me. I've ruined his clients. So I didn't hear from them for quite a while. And I kept sending apologies. I didn't know. I'd never seen her. Apparently she's very popular and wonderful and beautiful, but I don't know. I don't know anything about anybody who's in Star Trek, which includes myself.
Hello, Mr. Shatner.
Well,
welcome.
that's very sweet of you. Hello yourself.
My name's Madeline from Seattle.
Madeline from Seattle.
I grew up on Original Trek, and...
Are we calling it Original Trek? Is that what it's called? Original Trek. That's like Original Man, like sloped forehead and brow.
So I was thrilled to see you cameo in The Big Bang Theory, and was curious if in that Dungeons & Dragons episode you had any fun short stories to share with us, since, like you told Penny, I thought you had a lot of moxie.
Who has a lot of moxie?
You.
Me. You or Q? Q has a lot of moxie too, but you. And by that you mean courage to be on that show? Why do I have a lot of moxie if I've appeared on? And they kept asking me all through the years. And I said, well, I've never. No, they refer to you a lot. Really? And then they're going off the air, and okay, I'll come on the show as you go off the air. So, and I just kind of blundered around. I don't know how it went. But that's my usual approach. Why do you think I had a lot of moxie to be on that show?
Not to be on the show in particular, just in general.
I have a lot of moxie in general.
Yeah.
What do you mean by moxie?
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy? Oh, jeez, I got to explain what I meant. Golly. What are you asking? What do you mean by moxie?
Well, it takes a lot of courage to be an actor. In general, you have to put yourself out there, and I don't want to take up time from other people that have questions.
No, don't. You can't hide behind the guy in black. I'm in black too. No. You gotta hang in there. You gotta explain what you just said. Moxie is an interesting word. It's like slang, but it's very rarely used. Moxie, especially with somebody as young as you. Moxie is like an old-fashioned word, like pugilists in the 1930s. Gentleman Jim Thingme, he has lots of moxie. Watch him fight. By God, you'll see him fight. He's got moxie, that boy. So how does that apply to me?
Well, not every film receives a bunch of not every.
I know that all too well.
So it takes a lot of courage to be able to continue putting yourself
It
out there.
certainly does, my dear. Yeah. No.
Time after time again, even through the ups and downs.
You're quite right, and Are you applauding her or are you applauding me? The actors, in general, don't have a high percentage rate of success. If you make 5 movies, if one is successful, makes money, you're in really good shape. Usually it dawdles on and you don't, and you blunder, and you get lucky, and you make a couple of hit movies, and suddenly you're popular again, or series or whatever it is. Success is not in the numbers. Failure is more the result of show business. And being a big success is really outstanding, and it's worthy of celebrating the people involved, celebrating with the people who are watching this successful event, whether it's a series, a movie, a television thing. Success is very rare. I mean, real success is very rare. And to be appreciated by everybody, but mostly by the people involved, saying, my God, lightning has finally struck. So, dealing with failure and appearing in front of an audience and saying, Star Trek 6. So, yeah, failure follows you as well as success. It takes a lot of moxie. Thank you, dude. Please.
Hi,
Hi.
Richard. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I live on Bainbridge
I'm
Island
so
now.
sorry.
Thanks. I escaped. I live on Bainbridge Island now near Seattle.
Yeah, now you can breathe the air.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had a question, but you did have a comment earlier to ask for help, so I'd like to make a suggestion. You said
Help?
Yes, you said you've never watched yourself in the original series.
Right.
So there are a lot of actors now who are doing, like, for example, Smallville is a favorite show of mine. Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum, they do a podcast where they watch the show themselves because they haven't seen it and then comment about the stories about filming. And Katie Sackhoff with Battlestar Galactica, she just recently launched that. So I think many of us here would probably pay to see you watch the original series and then just comment about what you were doing. And I would volunteer to help you put that together if you like.
How much would you pay? I wouldn't leave myself open to that kind of criticism. Although I must tell you, everything I've ever done, including this afternoon, has been from my heart. I've tried to do well. I've tried to make it a success. If it isn't a success, it's my fault. And I misjudged, but I'll do better the next time, and that's the way I feel about this afternoon. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.